Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen when you allow yourself to simply notice the changes that are already beginning. You can just relax and begin to realize the very act of noticing is in itself a form of healing. It's so natural, isn't it? Because when you notice, you're already becoming more aware, more attuned to the possibilities around you, and perhaps more accepting of how things are. It's almost like stepping into a new perspective effortlessly, noticing how it feels, noticing how different that feels. And isn't it interesting how sometimes the thing that you fear the most is the very thing that's been asking for your attention, waiting for you to approach it with a gentle curiosity, with kindness and understanding. Because terror, when it shows up, can sometimes feel so enormous, so overpowering. But what if, just for a moment, you allowed that terror to be simply there? Not as something that takes you over, but as something that's ready to shift, to evolve, to transform into something completely new. Imagine, just for a moment, that terror isn't the enemy. What if terror, in all of its intensity, could be held with something much larger, something warm, expansive, a deep kind of love, an acceptance that feels so natural, so safe, so certain, that the terror becomes almost miraculously a small part of something greater, something that can gently lift it, and as it lifts, it brings you into a new space where everything feels lighter. It's like the terror, once acknowledged, is allowed to fade, step aside, not because you've banished it, but because it's been given the space it needs to shift into something new. You see, when terror has been experienced without love or acceptance, it could seem like it's trying to control, to overwhelm. But all that's really needed is that deeper connection, the deeper understanding that terror is just a signal, just a messenger, waiting to be seen, heard and ultimately understood. And once it's seen, it's like the very essence of that terror begins to transform. Not because you're fighting it, but because you're embracing it. You're allowing it to be a part of the story, not the whole story. And just like that, with love and acceptance, you realize terror doesn't define you. It simply exists in a new relationship to you. A relationship where it no longer has to be feared. A relationship where the healing energy is already at work, bringing light into places that were once dark, filling you with a deep knowing that things are already shifting. Imagine that right now, in this very moment, things are shifting, expanding, evolving. And the more you allow it, the more you can feel how deeply it's taking root. As that light pours in, feel the shift happening inside you. Feel it as a wave of relaxation, a warm energy that gently begins to dissolve the barriers, the doubts, the fears. And you might even notice, as the light expands, it brings with it a sense of clarity, a deep knowing that healing is not only possible, but inevitable. It's almost as if the very essence of healing is already there inside you, always ready to rise, to lift, to change, to create something new. Now you can begin to notice how that shift feels in your body, how your breathing becomes deeper, smoother, how your muscles relax, how a sense of peace begins to settle in. As your body relaxes, your mind follows, effortlessly releasing the need to hold onto old patterns, the old beliefs that no longer serve you. There's a new flow now, a flow of acceptance, a flow of love, a flow of healing that carries you forward with ease and with grace. It's almost like you're learning to let go of the old ways of experiencing terror, and instead you're discovering the truth. Terror, it's simply another emotion. And with love, with acceptance, with light, it can transform into something new. And as you feel the release, as you feel that terror lifting, perhaps you'll begin to notice that each time you allow yourself to step into this new relationship with terror, into this new relationship with your emotions, each time you approach it with the warmth of acceptance, it becomes easier, smoother, lighter. The healing process becomes not something to be afraid of, but something to embrace, something to welcome, because now healing is not a struggle. Healing is a natural, inevitable process, and it's happening right now. Feel that as you continue to breathe, continuing to experience the shift, continuing to allow the healing process to unfold naturally. Notice how each and every step you take, no matter how small, it's a step towards deeper freedom, deeper acceptance, and a life where healing happens effortlessly. Because it always was there, always was possible, and now you're simply allowing it to be. And you may find, as you continue to integrate this new understanding, that this belief, this deep knowing, it becomes more and more your reality. Just imagine how easy it can be to feel love for yourself, to accept all parts of you, to heal all parts of you, because you're the one who decides how the story unfolds. And now, with each breath, you can feel how that deep connection with yourself, your essence, expands. The more you allow it, the more it feels natural. And that's all you need to do. Simply allow and notice the healing that's happening all around you. So as you continue to relax, perhaps you'll notice how easy it is to begin to let go of anything that's ever felt heavy. You might even start to realize how effortless it can be to make space for healing. And that healing, it isn't a process you have to fight against, but one that happens naturally, just like the seasons change effortlessly, beautifully in their own time. And while you're relaxing, just become aware of how your body feels. You might notice how the sensations in your body, they're subtly shifting, almost imperceptibly. Perhaps the tension that once held you back, it now begins to melt away. It's not something you have to work at, not something you need to force. It's already happening. All you need to do is continue to let go, to breathe, to trust the process. Because the truth is, healing has always been possible. It's always been a natural part of who you are. It's almost as if healing has always been waiting for you to simply remember how to let it in. And to allow that deep memory to surface, it's like an ancient knowing coming back to life. You might feel it, the wisdom of knowing that things are always shifting in the background. That your unconscious mind is always working to bring you to a place where healing is not only possible but inevitable. And isn't it true? Sometimes we hold on to things because we don't realize they can be let go of, until one day we just notice how easy it can be. It's almost as if you don't need to do anything but to allow the shift to happen. With every breath, with every moment, it becomes more and more natural. And with each breath, it becomes easier and easier to step into that space where the terror, the fear, becomes something different, something more manageable, something more in harmony with who you truly are. Perhaps you're starting to notice how terror, when seen from a different perspective, begins to feel less like something to avoid and more like something to welcome. Just imagine for a moment, when you welcome it, you don't have to resist, you don't have to fight it. Instead, it's like you begin to transform it simply by recognizing it, by seeing it as a signal that something is ready to shift. Just the recognition alone brings about the shift. It's almost magical how your mind works in this way, isn't it? How when you recognize something, it changes, it evolves, it transforms into something new, something more manageable, more connected to your higher self. And with that recognition, it's like the very nature of terror begins to soften. It begins to dissolve into the light of acceptance, the light of love. The love that you, as your essence, have always had within you. It's almost as if that love is the light, the very force that helps you to release and shift what no longer serves you. And as you allow that light to pour in, you start to realize terror can only exist where it's not understood, where it's not welcomed. And once you accept it, once you love it, it doesn't need to stay. It can simply transform into something completely new. Something with less charge, something with more clarity. In fact, just as you're noticing now, it's almost as if every time you breathe, You're creating more space for this transformation to happen naturally. Every time you exhale, it's like you're releasing all the old, out-of-place energy, making room for more of that healing light. You might even notice, with every inhale, you're filling your body with that energy of acceptance and peace. An energy that's always available, that's a part of your being. You are that light, and that light is what gently lifts anything that doesn't serve you. Now let yourself consider how every time you approach those feelings of terror with love and acceptance, you're teaching yourself that you can trust the process, that healing doesn't require struggle. It requires gentle awareness and trust. Every time you notice terror or any other strong emotion, you can remember it's simply waiting to be recognized, waiting to be accepted. And in that moment of acceptance, it'll always transform. It's almost like there's an invisible process, an invisible shift that occurs. And you don't even have to see it happening for it to be happening. Notice how much more peaceful it feels to simply let go of the old belief that healing must be hard. Because when you trust the process, when you give yourself permission to experience emotions fully, to feel them without judgment, without fear, they no longer have power over you. They no longer define you. In fact, each time you feel terror or fear, you can simply breathe and realize that it's not a threat. It's simply an invitation to welcome a new way of being. Perhaps, just perhaps, you're beginning to notice that the idea of feeling terror with light pouring into it doesn't feel so overwhelming. In fact, it might even begin to feel like a normal part of the process. You feel that, don't you? That light pouring in, that warmth of acceptance, that shift in perspective. It's almost like every time you allow light to touch the fear, you understand the fear was never really a threat to begin with. Now as you settle into this deep, peaceful state, just imagine for a moment how easy it can be to walk through life with this new knowing. Imagine a world where you approach all emotions with the same sense of understanding, where fear, terror, and other emotions, they're just signals, just messengers that guide you on your path. Never something to resist, but always something to explore, to heal and to integrate. It becomes effortless, healing becomes natural, and your relationship with yourself, with your essence, becomes one of deep, unconditional love. Feel that deep connection with yourself now. Feel how natural it is to release the old, to step into something more aligned with your true essence. Notice how easy it is for you to feel the peace, to feel love, to feel acceptance, and to allow these feelings to wash over you and fill you in every part of your being. It's like the very nature of healing. It's now your nature, effortless, powerful, and deeply transformative. And each time you experience these shifts, notice how much more profound they become, how much more deeply ingrained that they are in your being, until healing is no longer a task, but a natural unfolding of who you truly are. You begin to realize that the terror, the fear, the challenges, they're always a part of your path, part of the process, waiting for you to discover just how easily they can transform. And with each breath, you continue to move forward, knowing with complete certainty that healing, peace, and light are your birthright. So as you continue to relax, just notice how effortless it is to allow deeper layers of understanding to unfold. There's something quite remarkable happening in this very moment, isn't there? Because as you begin to breathe deeply, it's as if you're opening the doors to a new reality, one where healing is not just possible, but inevitable. Healing flows to you naturally, just as the air flows in and out of your lungs. You might notice how, with each breath, something new becomes possible, something subtle, something powerful. It's almost as if you're beginning to align yourself with the truth that healing is always available to you, simply because you're worthy of it. Isn't it interesting how natural it feels to breathe in this new sense of trust? Trust in your own ability to heal. And as you breathe out, you can let go of any resistance, any doubts, knowing they no longer serve you. As you relax even deeper, allow yourself to become more aware of the shift that's happening within you right now. You might begin to feel how your mind is naturally starting to reframe those old beliefs. The beliefs that healing is hard or impossible, into something more aligned with your true self. It's as if you're beginning to understand on a deeper level that healing is not a struggle, not something you have to work at, but simply a natural unfolding process. One that's already underway, simply waiting for you to allow it to happen. And with every breath, you might start to feel how this process is becoming easier and easier. Every exhale feels like you're releasing something old, something that once held you back. And with every inhale, you're welcoming new possibilities, possibilities of healing, growth and transformation. You might even start to notice how your connection to your own essence becomes stronger, more vibrant, as you embrace this new reality. And in this new reality, there's no room for struggle, no room for force, only room for gentle acceptance and natural, effortless healing. And it's interesting, isn't it, how when you allow yourself to feel deeply, even the most intense feelings, there's no longer any need to push them away. Instead, you can invite them in with love. And when you invite them in with love, there's nothing to fear. You might even begin to notice the very act of feeling, of allowing yourself to feel, becomes a doorway to healing. You don't have to escape the terror. You don't have to push it away. All you need to do is listen to it, let it in, with that deep love and acceptance that already resides within you. And with that, the terror begins to lose its grip, begins to soften, to transform into something else. And as you continue to breathe, as you continue to relax deeper and deeper, notice how healing is no longer something you need to chase. It's already here. It's already happening. It's as if the healing process itself is being redefined in your mind right now. So you begin to associate healing with ease, with comfort, with joy. Can you feel that? The knowing that healing is easy, it's natural, and it's yours. So just imagine for a moment how your mind is now beginning to associate feeling terror, not with fear or resistance, but with something else entirely. Imagine that terror is now a signal to you, a signal that something's ready to shift, ready to change, ready to transform. What if, instead of seeing it as a threat, you could see it as a signal of positive change, a messenger inviting you into something new, something powerful, something transformative? And as you begin to allow this shift, imagine each time you experience terror, you can now immediately welcome it with love, without hesitation. Can you sense how, in this moment, your mind is beginning to understand this new way of thinking, this new way of being, this new way of feeling? Every time you acknowledge the fear or the terror, you're teaching your unconscious mind that it's safe to feel, it's safe to heal, and that healing doesn't require struggle, it simply requires you to allow it. It's like you just unlocked a powerful secret, isn't it? The secret that healing comes from gentle acceptance. The secret you don't have to push, you don't have to fight. Healing happens naturally when you allow it. And now, as you feel yourself sinking deeper into this relaxed state, imagine how much easier it is to release those old beliefs. The beliefs that have been holding you back from fully embracing this natural healing process. You might notice how each of these beliefs begins to dissolve, just like fog disappearing under the warmth of the sun. Each belief, each thought pattern that once told you healing was difficult, is now simply melting away, leaving behind only the truth that healing is effortless. Healing is a natural part of who you are, a flow that's already moving within you. You don't have to search for it. You simply need to open up and let it happen. And now you might even notice your unconscious mind is beginning to create new pathways, new beliefs, new understandings to make healing seem even more natural. You can trust this new pattern is being installed at a deep level, in a place beyond your conscious awareness. It's like your mind has already begun to rewire itself, to install these beliefs, that healing happens with ease, that you're capable of welcoming terror and transforming it, that love and acceptance are the most powerful forces for healing. Just imagine how powerful this shift is. Imagine how every time you encounter terror, every time you feel the old sense of fear, you can now choose to bring in love. And as you bring in love, the terror dissolves, becoming lighter, becomes less significant. You can feel it now, can't you? The deep knowing that terror doesn't control you. In fact, it never did. It was simply waiting for you to see it for what it truly is, an opportunity to transform, an invitation to grow, to expand, to heal. And with every passing moment, with every new breath, you're becoming more and more aligned with this new understanding, this new belief system. You might notice how this new way of thinking begins to seep into every part of your life, until you simply know on the deepest level that healing, it's natural, it's easy, it's always happening, and every emotion, every terror, is simply part of your natural flow towards a transformation. And as you continue to breathe deeply and easily, just allow this new belief, this new truth, to settle deep within you. You might even notice how it feels as though this new sense of healing now becomes a part of your very identity, part of your essence. It's as if you're now the kind of person who welcomes all emotions, even the difficult ones, with an open heart. And as you welcome them, you watch them transform, you feel them shift, and you realize this transformation, it was always possible, always available to you. Now, with each and every breath, this understanding, this truth, it becomes more and more integrated. You're healing, you're growing, you're expanding effortlessly, naturally. It's just a part of who you are, and always has been. Feel that deeply, and know, with complete certainty, from this moment forward, healing is yours. Easy, effortless, inevitable.